Hello to yet another episode of Ball Over Passion. Another week has gone by in the Premier League. More heartbreak, more excitement, more football. So we're back with the normal people here. We've got the normal crew here, just the five of us today. No added people like yesterday. So let's just get straight into it. Today we're going to be talking Man City versus Arsenal, tears, and then we're going to be talking Liverpool Chelsea. We're also going to be talking Man United versus Wolves, and then we'll do a roundup of any other interesting games, and maybe we'll even take some questions if we have time. So let's start with 5-0. Thoughts, tears, anger. What are we thinking, guys? Are we throwing stuff at the wall? Are we putting Arteta in Taliban and headdresses yet, or what are we doing?
Yeah, it's a tough one because I've done a couple of these like rewatches, a couple of these analysis takes, and I just find it super weird that the timeline has used the Man City performance as the matchstick to twist your opinion on the manager. For me, that was the biggest issue. If we're looking at the game, structure-wise, he absolutely set us up right, but the game plan went out at the window roughly around 10-minute mark, really. That whenever that goal went in. And so when you look at it, a lot of our fundamentals were the same. 3-2-5 build up, it was the exact same. I had a post on my timeline, people asking where the build up's gone in the last couple of weeks. It was there. It's just we've got Cedric and Chambers who just had mares. Cedric was ruining the structure all over the gap. But it absolutely was a 5-4-1 that was really clear. He changed it so that he had three at the back. I think people were questioning some of the personnel within, which, to be fair, because we did our preview, right, I had a lot of athleticism on my wing, and I don't think that he did there. So I don't want to be inconsistent that, I agreed with everything he did. But I did want to get across that the structure of the team was sound. That wasn't the issue yesterday, or I would have rather had a couple personnel changes, sure, but system-wise was not the time to critique the manager for. I think Chelsea was a lot issue more of kind of a tactical naivety, but that wasn't the case in this one. I think there's a lot of explaining to do, which we'll probably get into individual decisions, Curran. But overall, what I saw was just very typical of a team lacking their technical leaders, having individual mistakes, quickly going 2-0 down, and then a quick red card just shows the capitulation. And so then you start to say, is it a fault of the manager? Is that a fault of something else? Well, I've seen this team capitulate for over 5 years, so I really don't think that comes from the top. I think fundamentally what happened was we were against a team that we knew we were probably going to lose to. We knew it was going to be a long day. I think all of us, even on the preview, I mentioned a team that focuses on central overload, and you have no spine and no 1v1 duels, no transition threat, was going to be really, really bad. And then Cedric was horrible, guys. I know we haven't gone into our winners and losers, but he's already my loser. And, I highlighted Callum Chambers on Twitter, but it was like, when you're looking at it, Callum had the most stark individual mistakes, but Cedric was just horrific all over the gaff. And, it was like you would give him the ball and he was just ruining every single phase of play. And it was just not on. And so, I don't know. It's a frustrating performance all in all, but I still maintain that, the system and the broad structure wasn't the issue. We had individual mistakes that basically threw the game plan out within 10 minutes. And it's frustrating because I feel this is three performances on the bounce that, regardless of what blame you might attribute, it's been consecutive poor showings, and I get the anxiety on that end. It's just, I felt that this was the weird game to turn, in quotes.
Mm-hmm. Z, we had briefly talked about it on the Spaces yesterday. If you didn't check it out, do check out. It's 2.5 hours of me and Z trying to get at each other. So if you haven't checked out, please do. What are your thoughts on this game?
I mean, yesterday when we discussed the game, I mean, it was only my first time watching the game as much as you guys, and I had my raw thoughts on it. I mean, I was really disappointed with the way we set up, and not not because not because I felt like we didn't try to win. I definitely feel like Arteta's intentions was to go out and win, but I did just feel like what, he didn't protect the weaknesses of the players enough. And I watched the game back today, and I can just confirm my worries are just as much as the same as it was yesterday. I feel like, you know what, we kind of played into Manchester City's hands, even though, you know, we conceded the goals in different ways. For example, first goal was from an individual mistake, which started from Kieran Tierney's not stopping the cross, from Leno not being able to catch the cross, and then Chambers being Chambers, not able to, you know, out header Gundogan and conceding. I think that kind of th- threw all the game plan that Arteta had, you know, out the door. But at the same time, when you look at it from just a holistic point of view, playing Xhaka and Odegaard, two non-athletic midfielders against two pressing eights in Manchester from Manchester City, I think it was almost suicide for me. I feel like, you know what, when you look at it and you try to be positive about it, I don't think just I feel like from the kickoff we were bound to lose. We didn't really stand a chance after that. I definitely feel like, you know what, Odegaard should not have been playing. I feel like it should have been Xhaka and Lokonga and play with Emil Smith Rowe in the hole, and we can try and protect ourselves a lot more because, you know what, there's a lot more athletic bodies in there. As well as that, I don't think Kolasinac should have played. We should have had Tavares, and regardless, if Ainsley Maitland-Niles is on the bench, he's part of the team at this moment of time. I feel like he should have played ahead of Cedric. You know, that was the issue for me. It was the personnel, it was set up, and ultimately we played it into Manchester City's hand, and we got battered in the end. Would I say that the Xhaka's goal kind of fed into Manchester City's hand and made them score more goals? Probably. And we didn't really stand a chance after that. But at the same time, I feel like Arteta could have been more proactive after the red card. I feel like he should have subbed on El Neni immediately or Lokonga immediately. But he didn't do that. And by the time, all the subs happened, we were 3-0 down, game over. Let's move on to the next week fixtures. That was it for me. And to be fair, like, it was upsetting to see. But like, you know what? We move on. We move on, really.
All right, Willow, I wanna hear from you, mate. What's going on?
I think the boys really touched on it. I think right formation, I thought wrong personnel, and I don't know. It was just a typical Arsenal performance against the big sides, really, where weak mentality, heads dropped, and we ended up just getting smashed. Like 5-0 flattered us personally. It flattered us. The amount of times they actually went through. Bern Leno actually did quite well with some of the stuff. I know he made mistakes as well, like coming to collect the cross, which we'll talk about, but he did make some good saves. There was one-on-ones. So it was just a typical Arsenal performance. It's the same players. What was it? I saw a statistic where it was like 8 out of 11 players were under Wenger, as well as, and he's playing for Arteta today. So it's just like, if you're using the same tools, how are you meant to get different results in a way? And it is difficult because you look at like back in the day when we were getting pummeled 5-1 under Wenger against Liverpool and stuff like that. It's 8 of the same 11 of players that are playing. You're going to be seeing similar results. I thought the first 10 minutes, I thought we actually played really well. I thought we were actually good the first 10 minutes. So I'll give credit there where it was. But it was individual errors, and that's where the tools come into it. It's like, if them same players have been doing it consistently for years and they're still there, why are we, it's a definition of insanity, trying to do something different. Not do something differently, but like expecting a different outcome, but doing the same thing. So when you're using the same players, it's hard to get different outcomes. So you got to see what we are like once we have the spine back. But it was a difficult watch. It was a really difficult watch.
Well, the tough thing for me, just really quickly, is I've had this comment that we were competitive against other top 6 teams previously. In general, we've maintained competitiveness. The difference is that this performance was just so poor in the manner we lost. It wasn't that we lost; it was the manner that we lost, which I absolutely agree. I think the manner that we've capitulated of recently is really quite stark. But I don't know if people are actually listening when I say that we've missed our spine, because in a majority of those top 6 clashes in general, we have not had more than 2 in the starting lineup of our spine missing. So when people are saying that we were competitive in top 6 matches, well, yeah, we were competitive even with our spine, and we haven't been competitive in games that we have lacked more than 2 across the spine of a team. So what's the spine of a team? Because I keep saying it, and it's not just a buzzword. Well, factually, it's your 2 center back pairing, one of your midfield leaders, and your technical leader in Saka. Now, if you miss more than 2 across the spine of that team, then any team is going to falter. I think I've used the example of potentially, Liverpool and other people that when they've missed their spine and had similar situations like us, their second depth has been Fabinho and Henderson in the back, who is clear of Mari and Holding, who is clear of Kolasinac, clear of Chambers. When you're looking at lacking a spine and what you could call upon after that, we've kind of hammered the club for the gap in quality for it. So I just don't understand what the expectation is to a certain extent when you're lacking that. And the team you're facing at the end of the day, not only do you not want to be 10 men against Manchester City, but you don't want to be 10 men and then lack a central presence in a team that we know can't run, don't win their duels, and can't lack intensity, or it can lack intensity. So for me, it was the perfect storm, and I knew in the preview it was gonna be bad. I don't think I love the capitulation, and that's where I really agree with fans. I think we really capitulated, and it's really disheartening to see. The one thing I will add at the end is I really don't think there's a dressing room issue, just the way that Aubameyang has come out after in the match. Normally, what I see from him when he doesn't back a manager is he sulks and he goes back in. And especially when the whole team came over to applaud the away fans, not just one or two, where it was the whole team. It felt as though there was a collective acceptance that this was not good enough, and I just think it was one of those days that it was really poor. Maybe not the day to do projection. I really don't get it. But I just wanted to clarify the point of lacking a spine, because I really don't think, whenever I get into arguments on Twitter about it, people start citing other teams whose spine are intact. Chelsea, the other red card, why didn't they capitulate the same way? Their squad quality is nowhere near the same, and their entire spine of available players was there. So that comparison is not genuine for me. And I would actually appreciate the anxiety a lot more personally. This is just my opinion. If we played this way with our spine intact, I would hear it. I would totally, I wouldn't be making these, and they're not excuses for me. They're very fundamentals of the game as a coach. I know if I don't have my big leader in the back, if I don't have my big leader in midfield, I don't have even my second choice leader in the back. I'm looking at a tall order against the side I know dominate the center. So it's tough. And I hear the points about personnel because I share a lot of them. Our preview, we had athleticism in the wings, right? If Ainsley wasn't going to be on the right, I had even said in another kind of space, why didn't he put Tavares on the right? We know that he's been putting him in right back. We know he can do it. I get that if Ainsley's going to make a decision on his career and it's a little bit off the pitch, an issue that we can't have him there, cool. But why don't you have athleticism on the wings? Because we needed an outlet, and I didn't see enough of an outlet from us. And that was where my biggest critique of the manager is, formation-wise, because I felt we need athleticism on the wings. We didn't have it. So that was something that you could control. Forgetting the spine. So that's a critique I had of, Mikel and how we set up. But I don't know. I just feel as though there's a lot of gap between our perceived quality and the reality of what this squad has right now and what's available and what you should expect about levels of competition. So for me, even if it's Liverpool and they're facing Real Madrid, if they've got 3 out of their spine out, I guarantee you they're not expecting an easy game nor a close game. They're really worried about the potential for where the game could go. And I think that's regardless of any manager. I give that same excuse. If you're missing more than 2 players within your spine, I am very much questionable what type of performance you can do. So at the same token, I think you pair these fears of anxiety with the latter games coming up post-international break. And like we've always said on the channel, for me, 10 games is my litmus test about how much you can judge between the past and what's presently available.
I mean, I do agree with that. I mean, my thing is from Leicester. I think we need to wait for Leicester. I think we have I think it's 8 league games and 2 Carabao Cup games, if I'm not mistaken. That means 10 games, correct? And let's be real. Without Gabriel and no White, no Partey, you needed the Angel Gabriel to win that game. It was just mental. Like how we were playing, the players we were playing, and I'll be real, you guys, I've said it multiple times, I love I love what the potential of Callum is when he's after he's come back, and he looked very good this second half of last season. But he is, for me, my loser of the game. I mean, I'm gonna ask everyone else, but he's definitely my loser of the game. Even if Xhaka got red carded, and we haven't even touched on that, but Callum for me, outdone in the air, looked slow, didn't want to take responsibility for that goal, even if he did get, I'm gonna put quotes, punched in the face. He did get it was. I said it. I still think it was a foul, but I don't think it was. You could see that he gave up on the play. Like he was someone that you could see that he was someone that he did get fouled. That's a push in the face. Anywhere on the pitch, that's a foul. But the point is when you give up on the play, despite getting pushed down, and you make a dramatic scene to try and buy a foul, it's like going to ground in a duel. You're trying to give yourself an out in the situation because you're taking yourself out of the game. You're trying to evade responsibility, and that was why I didn't like to see. I want to talk about the Xhaka red card, and then I want to talk about pre and post Xhaka red card. What do you think changed, and how could if Xhaka stayed? I'm not going to do hypotheticals, but what would Xhaka have added if he did stay on the pitch? Anyone can go for that.
For me, on the red card itself, I don't really think it was a red card, but I see why it was given. His reputation precedes him. He doesn't really get red cards from actual tackles. He gets them from pulling people back and stuff like that. But his reputation for being that type of player is there, and it's the reason why he was given with no hesitation. And it is his fault because he goes to ground the same way that most deep line playmakers, they go to ground to escape the game. So if he's on the ground making a slide tackle and someone goes past him, yeah, maybe he lost the slide tackle, but at that point you can't count on him to come back and help because he's removed himself from the situation. It's the same thing other players used to just Kolasinac sometimes does it. Mustafi used to do it. They slide tackle to remove themselves, and I think Xhaka did that yesterday. I don't think it was a red, but even with him in the game, I still predicted a 3-0. And it was 2-0 when he got red carded and 2-0 after him. I don't think we lose 5-0 if he stays on the pitch, but I don't think we probably win the game if he stays on the pitch, to be honest. That's my 2 pence on Xhaka.
Yeah. So okay, I'll give it to Z next. We'll just go round. Z, mate, go for it.
To be fair, look, I think we need to be quite understanding of the situation before the red card. Before the red card, I felt like, you know what, we were not under control, and it seemed like the game was running away from us, but there were chances. For example, when Emil Smith-Rowe was pressing the goalkeeper and he almost scored. I mean, there were chances, but the moment the red card happened, I think it literally just threw the game away. And on top of that, the goal straight afterwards kind of just told us, you know what, the game is done and dusted. I wish he stayed on his feet and he never made that tackle. But again, it's basically a consequence of not basically meeting the small little details on the pitch, which kind of leads to such things. For example, like I mentioned earlier, the first goal that we conceded was because of the Kieran Tierney not stopping the cross, the goalkeeper, and then Chambers. It was the same thing for Xhaka's mistake. It was a consequence from Leno not being able to pass properly to Cedric not being able to maintain possession, and then look what happened with Xhaka. Xhaka ultimately had to make that foul. And this is what I mean. Like, we need to stop these micro mistakes which kind of lead to big things on the pitch, and creates a massive deficit for us. We already know sometimes we're not going to be matching the quality of the teams. We need to make sure that we're not making these kind of mistakes which puts us you know a step below. So yeah, man, I was really livid when the red card happened, and I felt ultimately after that one I was like, yep, we are not even close to even going anywhere near them anymore in this game anyways. So yeah.
All right, Willow.
I thought it was a definite red card. To be honest, you can't leave the ground with your 2 feet like that. I think it was ridiculous. It was childish. You got to be. I think Xhaka was like one of our most senior players on the pitch of his age. You got to be before. Like, what kind of example is that? I know, like, as Z did say, you know, Leno and then Cedric, it was stupid, but there's still no need to go in like that. It's just, I don't know when he's gonna learn from his mistakes, Granite. Like, he's always got something stupid in him, but at the end of the day, look, we're already 2-0 down from individual errors. So to be honest, I don't really care that he did it in the end. Like, it's annoying we lost 5-0, but we were always losing the game. So it doesn't bother me that much that he done it in that game, to be honest. If he's going to do a stupid mistake a season, I'm happy to get it out of the way in that game because it was already dead and buried. But if we're talking about losers of the game, yeah, mine's Chambers as well. I'm sick and tired of our centre backs getting out-headed by 5'6", 7, 8, 9 feet players. It's ridiculous. It's the basics of football, and that is something you can't put down to, you know, tactics or a manager. When it's the basics of football, is win your duels, win your headers, and you've got to be, you know, you're an over 6 foot plus man. You can't be winning your headers. And Rob Holding, Chambers, it's just poor, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Shaka thing was tough where I was also with Chris when I first saw it. I was like, there's no way that's a red. And then I did see, like, still he leaves the ground with both feet. And so you're like, okay, I don't think the tackle in the end was as dangerous as what we saw, but the initial, you can't leave the ground with both feet, right? So by the letter of the law, I accept it. My biggest frustration was what you said, Willow. Why the hell is he leaving his feet like that? We talk about this on this channel a lot in controlled aggression. What is it? It's when you're isolated 1v1 and you're able to shepherd and allow yourself to meet your marker very quick, but then back off at the last second and shepherd him wide. That's the definition of controlled aggression. Xhaka doesn't have it. And when you have Granite looking to put out fires, he loses his head. That's what happens. You see this all the time, and you know what it is, Willow. You know, it's not even just a bozo moment. He does it purposefully, by the way. He does it to take himself out of the game. Mustafi did it. He wants to absolve responsibility. He knows he's going to get burnt 1v1. He doesn't want to do it, and he goes to ground to make a point of him attempting to go for the ball, and it's just selfish. It's lazy. If I was the coach, I would be livid with him because I hate when players go to ground like that in the middle of the pitch because it takes out your midfield, it takes out your defense, it leaves an entire gap in 2 lines of play, and my system is broken. So I never encourage people to go to ground. I'd rather you be beaten standing up. Shepherd him wide. Just slow him down. But the fact that you're going to go to ground like that, it's not fair. It's not right. And for me, it's just a clear individual mistake. But we know he gets like this. When he's made to run, he's made to put out fires. He does these things. So
he's a beta male. And I just want to add as well. Like, someone showed me a clip, and he actually did it in the Chelsea game as well. But he got lucky because of the player ran past him. But he didn't get the call from a ref. He wanted a call from, you know, his usual and how he kind of goes over the ball. Didn't get it. Loses his head and just does it. And it's just like, I don't like that personality at all. I really don't.
Yeah, it's frustrating. You know, I don't know what else to say on the red card, only that you shouldn't have done it. You should know better. But at the end of the day, he sat there and he's kind of ruined the game for me. Whenever you've got yourself 2-0 down and then a red card, I just knew that the floodgates would open. And, you know, it was very frustrating because I could see the plan in the first 10 minutes, exactly like what we were saying, in which there was structure, there was a way to beat them. And then individual mistakes absolutely made it kind of thrown out the window in a sense. And that's what really just frustrates me the most. But yeah.
Yeah. So I think for me, I do think it was a red because he leaves the ground. The question for me is why is Granite's a red, and why is Ashley Barnes today not a red? Why is Pogba's today not a red, but Xhaka's is a red? And anyone can answer that because
his reputation is the reputation that
this is just the thing.
Immediately they put the red card. It wasn't a yellow straight away. It was the red card straight away. These guys got the yellow straight away. Then there's a debate. But if you get the red straight away, it's so bad that you can't go back on the decision. but his reputation means that it's a red card. It's the same thing for Luis. It used to happen to Luis. Luis would make a foul, and it's the red straight away. And then at that point, you can't really go back because it was a foul, maybe not warranting a red, but it's on the brink of debate. But we've had players like Luis, Mustafi, Xhaka, all these guys have these bad reputations in the league from always making these rash, stupid challenges that when they do something, and even if it's not a red, like Luis versus Wolves, even if it's not a red and you see it, they're going to give it. But it's just a reputation of certain players we have. And certain other players in the league have it as well, but we have lost.
George, I think you wanted to say something as well.
Well, I'm just tired of the refereeing inconsistency within the league. No one's making excuses that it would have changed the game, but you can be nuanced enough to see the inconsistency within the same game. Kolasinac is booked with the yellow, and then Chambers gets away free from VAR. Can you guys explain to me what the logic was in allowing those two fouls to separate? How are they different? So for me, the issue is, yeah, we should have lost. That doesn't take away from the performance, but you can objectively say that the refereeing inconsistency that we've been subjected to this season has been really quite poor, really poor. I'm not Leno's biggest fan. I hate him, but the fact that like in Brentford we're okaying for goalkeepers to be held like that, that's not on. And he still is not good enough. He shouldn't be allowing his marker to do that to him. But if we're going to be objective, that shouldn't be happening. Saka's penalty call at Chelsea, that's a penalty. In any other team, it's a penalty. So it's just, I'm getting tired of the inconsistencies within the refereeing decisions. It doesn't matter about the performance. That's completely separate. But the idea that this refereeing has been so bad when you go to the Euros, and it was really quite good. I don't know about you guys, but I felt
it was really good.
Standard of I hate having to go to this because the standard of refereeing was so good in the Euros and in international tournaments. For me, how does the best league in the world create that standard for their officials? I don't understand. It's not just us, although I do feel that we've been hard done by on 90% of iffy calls. Other teams get this inconsistency as well. Why is Pogba's not a red card today with Manchester United? We all see how high the boot was. It was dangerous play. If we're going to be consistent, then be consistent in that aspect. It doesn't matter
Barnes
about Arsenal today and their performance. Just be consistent in your calls.
Barnes as well.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. I'm tired of people saying that if you criticize the refereeing decisions, you're trying to give Xhaka an out. No, we all agree. I think everyone on this panel agrees. Someone tell me if I'm wrong. Everyone on this panel agrees that Xhaka was in the wrong there. He made a foul, and it's a borderline yellow, deep yellow, maybe light red card. It's on that borderline. Am I wrong?
The thing is with this, Ryan. What I'm trying to say is, I don't know if it's wrong or right because when I look at the other decisions in the league, it's never a red. So I just don't understand. Like, why is it that when it comes to decisions that are from Arsenal, we need to micromanage the decisions and make sure it's perfect? I don't understand why we need to do that. Why can't we get the benefit of the doubt or the rub of the green? I just don't understand. Xhaka couldn't have got sent off yesterday, but for some reason, Chambers, the foul against Chambers was not even a foul. Like I don't understand.
Yeah,
I don't think any of us do, man.
It's the reputation. It's the reputation for our players of either being too soft or too
Chris,
rash.
no offense, I'm sorry, but like, is that even allowed at the point? Look, I can get a ref being an ego contest and saying, look, there's reputation, yada yada. I get that, but then there's no excuse for Chambers when you have the Kolasinac issue of a yellow card literally there in the same game. You have to be consistent in how you're reffing, right? Like your level of degree, even if I don't agree with how hard you're calling the calls, right? That's one level. But then don't wish-wash between teams about how hard you're willing to go and what you're allowed to let play. And I think we just experienced that too much. And I don't know. I don't feel as though it's bias. I feel as though there have been 3 bad calls in each of the games. And it doesn't change the performance, but in each of our games, there has been really bad calls that should have been overturned with VAR. And it's not getting better. It's getting worse. And at what point do you say that the tool is not the problem, but those that are using it are? I don't
Do
know. I have a
you
big
Do you know
issue.
what? Do you know what the problem is as well? Is it's hard for me to keep my consistency because in the Brentford game, I actually gave. I think we all talked about, it, and we kind of gave the ref the benefit of the doubt where we should have gone. Leno should have made a meal of it, and he should have gone down. Chambers did go down against Man City, and he didn't get it. So I'm stuck in the middle here. Where I'm going. Hang on a minute. Now people are saying Chambers was too soft and should have stayed in his feet. But when Leno did that and he was too soft, everyone said you should go down and make a meal of it. So it's very hard to keep a consistency because like. The guy literally gets
It's
hit
whatever
in the face.
suits the narrative, Willow. It's whatever suits the narrative. That's the thing.
Because that's the thing. The Xhaka call has. I've got no qualms with that. The guy left the ground with 2 feet. That is for me. I look at the letter of the law. That's a straight red card. I'm fine with that. But the Chambers thing, guy gets hit in the face. If I ask the whole panel here, do you think if it was the other way around, do you think we get that goal?
Nope.
No, we literally got a yellow like within 5 minutes later with Kolasinac.
That's what I'm saying.
Mm.
Like,
But
I think
I wanna-
it's another thing is a lot of people seem to say this, but like the reaction when we do get our stuff, because even when Xhaka got the red, Xhaka was the only one that complained. Everyone else just it is what it is, walking away, and you never know what the influence 10 players shouting at a ref could have on the change. And I'm not sure if it changes much, but I'm saying like our players just seem to accept what comes and just walk away with it. But then they never really seem to be complaining. And again, like even in the first place, like I'm not sure either Chambers or Leno were in the wrong or in the right, because you are right in the sense that they did completely different things, and then we're telling them to do the opposite. But we've seen the opposite happen, and the result is the same. So I just think the refs in England are shit. I just think that's where I've gotten to. Like, there's not much else you can say. That they're not good referees, because in the Euros you could probably count up to 10 how many issues were in all them games. But it is what it is.
I want to, before we move on from the City game, I want to do a winner, a loser,
Then I'll show the prediction table as well.
and yeah, go for it, CK. You can show me losing. So winner, loser, just very briefly, one or two sentences. But I don't want to stay for ages. We need to move on to the next game.
For me, the winner is
it's hard, isn't it?
I got one. Winner.
Yeah, I've got one.
Emil. I think Emil, because there was times where Emil was the closest probably to getting a chance with that press, because Oba should have been the one there, but he just, I don't know what happened. But yeah, I think Emil, and he probably was the only one maybe that held his head up high when everyone's heads dropped.
And kept going. In the 70th minute, he's going and making a great run in the left-hand corridor once again, but he's alone. Doesn't lead to anything. But no, Emil's the only one that can lead his head high for me. It was actually really quite clear. I don't think there was really anything that anybody else could really compete with him for.
Do you not think that was a foul on Saka in the first 5 minutes?
Soft.
Debatable.
Soft.
I can see why it's not, but I'm cognizant of being biased. I can see why it's not, but
if they give it, they won't like rescind it.
If you're giving it with Kolasinac on the yellow card, yes, Z, it should be.
Yeah.
Right. So I think from what I surmise, is anyone going to disagree with? Because this is literally what I was going to go with as well. Winner Emil and loser Chambers.
He's been the winner for the past.
Oh, loser! I'll throw out Cedric because he was my loser personally. Despite, and I did this on Twitter, where Callum had the most stark individual mistakes, but Cedric was poor in so many areas. He killed so many attacks, so many build-ups. This guy was continuously killing any positive momentum that we had. And so while Callum had like the Hollywood individual mistakes that we all saw have direct goal kind of impact, I think Cedric was the epitome of why we couldn't get out on the right, why we had no right-hand side. And it was just really, really poor from him.
I think Xhaka obviously has to get a mention because he got a red card.
But he's just a loser in general.
I wouldn't go that far calling him a loser. But yeah, Xhaka loser. No, Xhaka, Cedric. It was a pick of the bunch thing. But winner was definitely Emil, and loser is whoever you want, to be honest.
Okay, so I think let's move on to the table, CK. I think you wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, that's how it looks right now. It's one game. Curran got 0 points because he predicted 3-1 Arsenal. And
You
the
guys see
point
this
is,
cheeky? Hold on 1 second. You see this cheeky boy? He's put his name first at
why?
the top.
It's
Look at
alphabetical
the
order.
order. Look at the alphabetical order.
It should be switched around, don't you think, Willow?
Alphabetical order.
Yeah, I mean, if I use my actual name, I'd be up there.
Well, where's Z? What did Z predict? What did Z predict?
He said he won't predict. It's superstition.
I'm gonna do it. Honestly, I can't.
Affairs. All
But
right.
yeah,
I think
it's 1 point for getting the correct winner, and 3 points for getting the correct result, and obviously 0 points for getting neither. And
okay.
I predicted 3-0 City. Willow predicted 2-0 City, and George predicted 2-1 City, and Karen predicted 3-1 Arsenal.
I just thought not as it was a joke, but I just thought
No.
you know
Don't do that. Don't
it
do
was
that.
no. Let me finish. Let me finish. What I was trying to say is I'm not gonna say it was a I'm not gonna say that I was just completely trolling, because I thought maybe we could just bring an upset. That was my thinking, and we didn't. We got smashed, so it is what it is, and we move on. It's 1 point, people. It's 1 point, people. I'm sure. Yeah.
I'm gonna say blow up the clip when it's out, boys. Blow up the clip.
Not next week, obviously, because we don't have a game till like September.
Yeah, September.
But yeah, let's move on to the next game.
Move on to the next game. So the next game.
Karen will tell you that at the end of the season.
Yeah, we will go through for CK's forfeit at the end of the season. Don't worry about it. We'll find an appropriate one.
Winning, to be honest.
You're winning right now in alphabetical order. Let's calm down. It's 1 point. But let's move on to the next game now before this guy gets out of control. We'll go for the Chelsea Liverpool game. I mean, I only watched bits and pieces of this, so I'm going to leave this one to you guys. So
I think at the start, it was like a beautiful game.
Definitely.
But Chelsea scoring kills every match, man. I think the first I don't know when Chelsea scored, but maybe the first 20 minutes it was like very back and forth. At first, Chelsea couldn't handle Liverpool's press. They were struggling to get out. And then Liverpool weren't. In the final third, Liverpool just kept making the wrong decision, to be honest. Chelsea, as they do, did well on the counter actually. But yeah, at first I think overall it was actually a very good game. Two big decisions, a big decision really changed the fortune of the game. But yeah, I think it's going to be one of the best tactical games to see all season. Chelsea Liverpool.
George?
I loved it. I did watch it. I agree with CK there. It's a very interesting tactical battle. I'd argue Chelsea have probably the best build-up in the league, and I'd argue that Liverpool have the best press in the league. And so when you're looking at potentially how to counteract each's strength, it's the opposite. They are the antithesis of each other. So like on paper, I was very interested to see how we would do. I was very interested to see how Konate would play with it, because for me, I've always felt that there were issues. I don't know if he quelled them personally. I think Liverpool were makers of their own demise, though. When you have a player kind of go off like that, they should have taken the game to Chelsea a lot more.
Yes.
I really think Harvey Elliott was an issue in their final third inefficiency. Him and Salah had the Odegaard-Saka effect, where they were both getting in positions that they both wanted to be in, and they both want to do the same thing. I think Salah's a little bit more comfortable going in to out, whereas Harvey Elliott's constantly cutting inside, but it doesn't really leave much dynamics in the center. And I felt they were missing a box presence. So while they had absolutely some press resistance, they had those two on the wings getting in each other's ways. Firmino was getting way too deep, and I just felt
a bit.
Yeah, I mean, he was trying to help, because the press right now, they weren't able to actually be efficient moving through the thirds. I think Trent Alexander-Arnold actually had a poor game by his standards, to be honest with you. I felt as though that that side is normally a big strength for them. And I don't know if it was because of Harvey Elliott and Salah, which it could have been. The movement could have been wrong, but I felt as though they were really shuttling towards the left. That was where they looked their most dangerous. They had their best chances funneling that side. But again, Chelsea, you got to give props to them in terms of keeping the game close, trusting in their build-up. And by the way, Havertz, that was purposeful. I'm seeing a lot of crap online that it wasn't purposeful. That man decided to do that, and it was a different technique, but equally impressive. I think Gabriel was the one that impressed me the most, even in the league, how he kind of changed direction mid-air and was able to get a goal last season. This Havertz one was just very, very intuitive. And, I just wanted to make a point in general where I think individual creativity is being lost in today's game. There's a lot of goals that are made through robotic schemes. Your best teams, City, Liverpool, they always, Chelsea even, they all do specific patterns of play, and it doesn't really cater to the individual. So it was just nice to see a big game broken by a deadlock with individual creativity. Shows that it's not dead. You can exist in a system like that. But I think Mendy was probably the best player on the pitch, even though he was a goalkeeper. I think the big reason for why Chelsea looked so great in the build-up was his ability to make the right decisions and to clip the ball wide and get them going very quick, because he was a big reason why Liverpool's press became almost non-existent. And make no mistake about it, that was definitely a tactical issue. They had the profiles in that midfield to make the press what it is. And I don't think we can say that, they were missing somebody that they couldn't do that. So it was just a testament to what Chelsea were doing to keep the game tight like that. And like you said, Chris, once they go a goal up, they shut up shop. It's very rare that we see them really go for it, and they basically say, break us down, it's on you. Which, fair play. It's not my specific philosophy, but fair play when you do it like that. I do think the Reece James was a red card. I don't know why that's a debate. His arm, for me, very clearly, it is a deflection, but his arm very clearly moves towards there. So I don't know. I saw that there was a debate, but I mean, I don't blame the kid. I mean, I would probably do the same thing in this situation. I don't want to for sure goal, but I don't know why there's a debate on it. I don't know what you guys think, but
their fans
overall,
created it. If that happened in our game, our fans would I think our fans would probably attack the player, or go against it. But Chelsea fans all got behind him and said it's a pen, not a red. They were trying to. That's what a lot of people were trying to say.
That makes no sense in the letter of the law. Again, if you think it's a penalty, that's what I have a problem with. If the Chelsea fans think it's a penalty, then it has to be a red card. You're just stopping a goal scoring opportunity. So make sense. Make it make sense, because you're not making it make sense at the moment.
Yeah.
I also felt it was probably one of the few times that a big clash lived up to the expectation. I don't know about you guys. I know that it definitely kind of dwindled down in the latter stages. I thought it was quite boring in the end, but I think it was the first time that I saw two teams truly go for it, and it wasn't succumbing or being cautious to the other.
Fans are back as well, isn't it? The fans are really, really help. But I also
think is that Chelsea before the game, it was being built up like European champions.
Yeah.
And to see if Liverpool are really back. That's how the game was really being built up. The European champions are here to see if the old guys on the block are still around. And it lived up. A lot of Liverpool Big Six clashes really them versus City is always a very good game. Them versus United is probably United's best Big Six game, because apart from that, Oli just gets 0-0s. But Liverpool are the team to that probably get the best Big Six games.
Honestly, if it was our fan base and it was Reece James doing that, they'd be calling him Reese's Pieces. They'd be making up some random slander name for him. They wouldn't get behind him. They would just be saying he's softer than peanut butter and Reese's Pieces. They'd be doing something stupid like that. I don't. At least say what you want about Chelsea. They have their issues, and they do have fans that do mental things and issues they have often on the pitch. But at least they get behind the kid, at least. So I don't know.
I honestly think though, without that pen, Liverpool lose the game, and
100%.
Maybe 90%, even 95% at this point of Chelsea's games is whoever scores first probably will win the game.
In the game, yeah.
But,
When Chelsea scored first, I was just looking at my brother and he was so happy, and I even said, "Oh, the game's done," but then the pens probably saved Liverpool, and I think Chelsea getting the red probably killed Trent because they were just so deep and so like regimented in their shape that he probably had less space to really work with on that right hand side, anyways.
I'll tell you what I loved about that game, watching it, especially for the first 30 minutes before Chelsea scored, is it's the difference. It's how Liverpool go into every duel. They go with 110%, and I'm not talking about a Granit Xhaka type duel where you go in and leave your 2 feet. They go in with 110%. Every single player on that pitch wears the badge on their heart. They all go right in for it, and I love that. And most of the time, they come out and win those duels. It's so good to watch. And Chelsea as well, just to go on the flip side, is their organisation. They get a man sent off at Anfield. Not one of them capitulate. They're so well structured. They sit back. They defended well, and they could have nicked a goal as well. Lukaku done some nice hold up play, and Kovacic had a good chance. Like they play both teams. Both had some good aspects of it. I think Chelsea came out of the winners of that game, which is quite ironic, as in the 2-2 Stamford Bridge they gave us a hard time for, but they're celebrating that 1-1 like they've just won the game. So, it's a bit hypocritical, but it was a really good game to watch.
Z, I haven't heard from you much on this game, so what do you think you can take away from it?
I mean, to be fair, like I kind of mirror the CK's and George's thoughts and Willow's, of course. It was a brilliant game to watch. One thing I noticed was just the change in Chelsea's style of football, and I don't know if it's just because Lukaku was there, but they tended to go route one a lot more than usual, and I don't know if it's because Lukaku there was just always a game plan, but it kind of makes me feel like, you know what, they are going to struggle to create a lot more chances without having someone like Werner in the team. And then, I don't know, somewhere down the line, someone will have to miss out, whether it's Havertz or Lukaku, to start, so that they can actually start, scoring those goals that they scored last season. Because I don't know, I felt like yesterday, even though they scored from that chance, they were still struggling to create a lot of chances, and I don't know how sustainable that is going to be, along the
Well,
season.
goals have been a problem for them, like the whole time. Even with Tuchel, they won the Champions League, but goals were their problem. Not conceding, but scoring them. And I think Werner definitely helps to drag teams apart. But the form Havertz and Mount are in, and obviously Lukaku is now your main man. I don't think Werner starts.
That's the thing, yeah. But it just goes to show, right? Like, the way they were playing yesterday, they kept on hit the ball long to Lukaku, and he just felt like a target man the entire game. I don't know. I just feel like, they shouldn't be doing that, and they should stick to the principles that they stuck to last season, which is, like, build up from the back and, hit them in
Well,
transition.
Liverpool did make them change at some point.
Well, the big thing, guys, just to play devil's advocate from a coaching perspective, with Liverpool's press, it's actually the best way to proceed right now. So I think the game plan from them, to be fair, because they do have great. I noticed the same thing, Z. I would actually even instruct the same thing, to be honest. The issue was not having a runner, like you said, with Werner behind, because you have somebody that will let it stick in Lukaku, but you don't have really that runner outside. And I think Mount did a really good job. He's really one of my favorite players from Chelsea. If not, no, he is my favorite Chelsea player. I think he was doing his best to create some off the ball movement. But just from a coaching perspective, when you've got a team so high up in the press like that, your buildup could be susceptible unless you have absolute 100% technique. And I think for them, they were going long to bypass the Liverpool press in order to kind of get an advantage in 1v1 situations. I think that was the goal. And I could understand it. But I agree. I don't think it worked too well, because then they didn't have a consistent outlet to make use of that bypass of the press. So for me, I really do think that Werner completes, unfortunately, their front line a lot more than who they have. But unfortunately, they just have bought so much in a position where they're afraid to kind of sacrifice what balance for, I think, who's in form at the moment. And I think that's maybe the dichotomy that he's looking at with both Havertz and Mount, who I've always maintained may step on each other's toes. for places in the future of the team
Mm.
in terms of how you balance those profiles the best. But yeah, I think I don't know my favorite player from the match. I don't know, maybe it is, but I thought Mount was excellent all game. Again, he was the only one stretching the opposition, having a point of reference, that wonderful skill on. Oh God, who was it in an isolation that was on the wing? He was doing
Matip.
was it Matip?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
Matip,
it
yeah.
was on,
Matip,
it was
took
on
him
Even
the
I
down.
saw that. I saw that back. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Okay.
took him down. Yeah.
Yeah,
He
and
was
you know what?
pulling.
He I don't know why he gets flack. I just want to do this. Like, look,
Rampant.
I know we're a rival, and like, I just want to understand why Chelsea fans give this man flack, because Mason Mount is an absolutely elite talent. This guy has excellent 5-yard burst, both feet. He can receive at any angle, drives at the ball, a tactical dream. To be honest with you, plays 8-10, whatever you want, and yeah, maybe it's narrative, but to have a kind of a Cobham academy product star in your team and Chelsea's team is not common, and it's not because
And it's
these
something they're
talents
not
don't.
used
Yeah, it's not because these talents don't have elite ability.
Like a
I don't
Livramento.
understand what's happened with Tammy and Callum Hudson-Odoi. I think Mason Mount just doesn't get the plaudits I think that he deserves personally. I'm a huge fan. He's everything I value in a player: touch, burst, stamina, defensive contribution, set piece threat. Actual efficiency. And it's just frustrating for me to kind of see the comments that he goes in and out of games when I feel as though he's their main conductor. I still feel that Chelsea don't create good enough chances, but a lot of chances. And a big reason why they turn their efficiency around is because of Mason Mount and what he does, a lot of off the ball work. I don't know about you guys, but I thought Lukaku didn't do as great. I thought this is the game that you buy him in for, right, to make a difference. And it is one game. I'm not going to let narrative happen, but I
Right.
really don't feel that he troubled Liverpool as much
He
as he
didn't.
could have. The few times that he was on the wing or on the run, he did a Lukaku what he does best and
The
missed
dribbling.
controls. But
I
yeah, go
think
ahead, Willow. Sorry.
no, I was just saying, I think we over highlighted Lukaku's importance in Chelsea's team. And I think the Liverpool game kind of just put it back to normal, where I don't think he will get the goals, but I just don't think he has too much of a significant difference to the Chelsea team that we think.
I
That's
think we'll be right, Z. Look, we were bold. People hammered us for it, but I did say, I go, look, he has improved. He'll do well. He'll get goals. But this idea that he'll be a 30-goal striker in the Premier League is not something that I really see. And it's because we are used to the counter press. We're used to our defenders being a lot more front-footed than Serie A defenders. And look, Lukaku will always be a problem. He'll always be a point of reference. But I don't feel, like we said, in another top six clash where you don't give him the game plan like we did, which is really poor, he's not going to impose himself as much as he could or should, in my opinion. I felt this was a great game for him to smash narratives, and he just didn't do it to me. My eyes went to Mount. Again, maybe that's biased, but my eyes went to the best player for them was Mason Mount. But yeah.
Lukaku even, honestly, like Van Dijk dealt with him well, but there were points in time where they'd go like 3v3 or 4v4, and he could have played in Havertz.
Yeah.
But he just didn't. There was a lot of times where their final pass was really missing, and it's not. I just don't know. And yeah, this is what I was gonna say on the Mount thing. Like a lot of fans in general, not just Chelsea fans, but a lot of fans in general, like degraded him because he was Lampard's boy, and Lampard was rubbish as a manager in a lot of people's eyes. So him being Lampard's boy and then Lampard leaving, you have to. Someone's always a scapegoat, and the scapegoat became Mount. And even though he's probably their best player and is one of my favorite players from their team, they've got super talents everywhere. But Chelsea fans, I think it's weird for them to like appreciate or just see an academy youngster in their team, because yeah, they've been great for the past, 15, 17 years, maybe even 20 years. They've been great for like 20 years, but they're not used to this academies in the academy players in their team, but they should get used to it because time is balling out in Serie A.
So it looks like we're putting Mason on the mantelpiece, but who is the loser of the game, in your opinion?
Um,
Oh my days! Loser.
I got you. I got you, George. Come on. Yeah, I know
I
I
looked
got
at
you.
George. George was shaking his head. And I was like,
I know I got you.
for me, loser. Okay, Rich James has to be up there because he got red. Maybe Harvey Elliott. Maybe. Not because he was really bad, but it's just because the dynamic with Salah didn't work that game like it did the game before. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think on who else it could have been, but Lukaku's reputation got like a
Well,
lot
now
of
you took it. I
people.
mean, I was gonna say Romelu Lukaku personally. Like that for me was the loser on the pitch. If I had to go for a team, I honestly think that actually Liverpool took a really big beating in reputation because I don't know about you guys, and look, I don't know the situation quite well, but I feel as though they had again their starting 11 spine was back. They had a lot of their first choice available, except for I think Jota wasn't 100% fit for some reason. He didn't, you
Well,
know.
now he has to play every game because Firmino's has
It,
a hamstring problem.
Exactly. And so I actually think they play a lot better with him. But regardless, I think Liverpool's reputation in general, in terms of trying to rub back the narrative of last season where injuries hampered us, I don't think was helped in this game. I don't know about you guys, but just it didn't strike me as a very fearful statement performance. But if I had to really choose somebody, yeah, Harvey Elliott didn't do great. There was a little bit of dichotomy, but for me, it's got to be Lukaku. Like I felt as though he was in isolation a lot, and he just made the wrong decision. And so for me, it was not only that you hampered your team being the outlet that you can be. It's just this is why you were bought, right? Like this, I thought a lot of Chelsea fans were telling me that he was going to get 30 Premier League goals, not just goals in all comp, but like 30 Premier League goals. This was the signing that would make them challenge for the league. And I would just argue, in general, their system kind of made the draw in this game and what they were really great at. Havertz had an excellent piece of individual skill, but once again, I felt as though their system kind of got them through tough periods. So credit to the coach, credit to the structure, yada yada. But I feel as though if you're title challengers and that's what your claim that you want to be, your star number 9 has to deliver the goods in the final third. And I'm just as harsh on our forwards as well, right? Like for me, when you're in isolation and you start to make the wrong decisions, I don't think he played in Havertz nearly enough, nor did he play in Mount. I think he struggled to impose himself in the same way. And for me, when you cost that much money, I don't really buy excuses like this team is built for you. So for me, I expect consistency in the top 6. And I'm just going to hamper this with, of course, we haven't seen him against enough top level opposition, but this is what I feared. This is what we predicted. So it's nice to see it play out is all I'm going to say.
I think my loser of the game is going to be a bit different. It's actually FSG. It's my loser of the game. I think, they've kind of built a reputation. You've got an elite manager in Klopp. It was going to be a rebuild this season after what happened last season. I know they had a lot of injuries, but they haven't done that. They've only really brought in Konate. And it's just like with Liverpool as well. If it's not going their way on what they're doing, I don't feel like they've really got a B plan. And I think that is a bit of a worry for them with what they want to do, because that game did go their way. Chelsea got a man sent off and they still couldn't break down Chelsea. And I think that is a worry for what they kind of want to do. They're in a good stage here where this is going to be their best time to win titles, Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues. And if they're not spending and kind of rebuilding and getting rid of a few parts that maybe haven't been as good the last couple of years, then it's going to be difficult to reach them expectations. And I think that Chelsea game maybe just be worry for the foreseeable future. I still feel like, they're going to get top 4, but is that what Liverpool fans really want at the moment? No, they want to win leagues.
Right, and Z, loser for a game?
I think it's Reece James, to be fair, because ultimately, I think Chelsea were running away with the game, and that kind of forced them to not win the game. That's it. He cost them the game. That's it, and that means he's a loser.
So,
Do you
based on
think?
the
Wait, sorry, Colin. Sorry. Do you think he should have let it go in?
I don't know. I think it was more instinctual. Like I would have just done the same thing.
It's yeah.
I would have done the same. We said it when we were discussing it. No offense, like guys, like even as like a defender, for me, it's going in. I just my mentality is I'll do anything, I'll let it get in. So
You
maybe
guys-
it's a personal
well,
thing.
You guys don't remember the 6-0 when was I can't even remember myself when it was
Chamberlain dive bomb left,
Yeah,
It wasn't
That
even
was-
going in either. That's a
Yeah.
sad thing.
and Gibbs got the red card, but Suarez did it in a quarterfinal.
Uruguay game,
Yeah.
against
It
Ghana, wasn't it?
happens. People like, and Mane's reaction to him just getting the red card was beautiful to see. He tried to hug him at first. Reece James pushed him away, then he just started laughing at him. So
Mm.
it is what it is. Chelsea didn't win the game based on that decision, but they were good enough to not lose based on that decision.
So, as we move on, we can just say that Mason
No,
is on the mantelpiece, but it wasn't as well. It wasn't a juggernautical performance from the Liverpool team either. It wasn't as good as they came. They were almost there, but couldn't get over the line. So let's talk about the best of the rest now. Is there any games that pop up to you that you guys can discuss?
The Wolves game just pissed me off.
the United
Wolves
game.
are-
Oh yeah, the Wolves game. Yeah, of course. Jesus Christ.
Before I was going to talk about Palace because obviously they're my guys.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about United because United.
Can we have a discussion about this?
Yeah.
For United,
505, man. 505
Oh my God,
formation.
at first, like when I saw Pogba in the pivot, I was like, why again?
He was
He's been
awful
the best
today.
player in the league. Probably the first 2 games, the best player in the league on the left.
Bro, they played. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say this again. They had at one point legit. They had James wide, Sancho wide, and they had 3 in the middle, and then they had Pogba, and like the defense all in a line. It was that meme where there's like defense, midfield goes Burr, and then off it, and then the final third. There was just 2 lines of 5. And it was just Pogba with the ball trying to find someone. It was so weird.
It's
I've
happened
never seen a
before.
build up. I haven't seen a build up that was literally like a block of 5, no midfield, and then
It's happened
a block
before.
of
It's
5.
happened, but when you leave McTominay out,
Yeah,
that's what happens to United a lot of the time when he doesn't play. I think.
But this is what we said, Chris. Like when we said that, absolutely United missed a DM at the beginning of the season, and we got slaughtered for saying that. You saw the effects of what happened here, and Wolves. I'm sorry, on the balance of play, Wolves absolutely deserve more out of this game, and there was a lot of decisions that were very questionable in terms of how United kept 11 on the pitch. In my opinion, it wasn't just Pogba. There was times also, I forget who it was that went flying in. It could have been James. It was off a corner. And, it was just ridiculous. He came flying, took out the guy. And, I don't know why it didn't get talked about. But they were leaving their feet the entirety of the time. And look, they're going to have troubles as long as McTominay's out. We've said it. And if they don't address the DM spot, then, United are going to struggle. I think it confirms our fears, by the way, with how they're going to use Sancho. I don't know about you guys. It's just... it's not right. You've got potentially the best as a rival. Look, I know that we support Arsenal, but
He's the
love
best left
football.
winger in the league.
Okay, but I think Shaw and Sancho are potentially one of the deadliest combos in the league on the left if you were to play them consistently. And this idea that you're not making do for one of your talents that you're doing. And by the way, this is without Ronaldo, right, guys? These decisions without Ronaldo, without Rashford. Can you guys give me a logical reason why he wouldn't be on the left? This is where I struggle and where I prayed that you guys would just calm down because I don't know if I don't have confidence in him to play the proper lineup. Now, when you introduce Ronaldo, I really think, and Rashford, who's now coming back fit, right? I really fear for what their balance will be like because I feel as though they got away with one in this game. Wolves should have got a lot more out of it. And of course, they play some great football, right? They've got some great players, and this isn't like an easy game. I just felt as though that this was a really poor performance from United, and Wolves deserve more.
they get away with it a lot though. Like I said that a lot last season, where I thought you didn't deserve to win that. You didn't deserve to win that. Like the Brighton game where 90 minutes went and then they got a penalty after it. And the whole season I thought that, and I thought at one point your luck is going to run out, and somehow it didn't for them, and they ended up getting second last year.
No,
I
It
mean,
did in the Europa.
yeah, that's what I was about to say. You do see it in like the bigger games in like the Europa leagues, but when it actually comes to the Prem and I guess the target of getting top four, they always seem to. I guess it just comes down to player quality. Sometimes I think it comes down to luck because you just look that Greenwood shot. I just think how does the keeper not save that? I think is really poor goalkeeping. They just seem to. They're a shithouse team really. We're under Ole on how they play. They seem to just about do enough to somehow get the wins.
Yeah.
They remind me of like late, like not in terms of like obviously the style of play, but the way that we used to like when we were in late Wenger years, when we would used to sort of just somehow get a victory, or we'd completely capitulate. There was never like a consistent run of games. We'd just be like, we would somehow just figure it out somehow.
The difference
just
between
end up
us back then and them now is that they've got the money and players to really do something.
Yeah,
And for them, like I even said to George before the game, oh, I think they play badly, but they've just got ball strikers and match winners.
It does count.
It's
It does
full.
count.
Their team is full, and that's what happened today. 80th minute, he just Varane passes him the ball from the halfway line. He just runs in, bang, and the goal. That happens.
I see Varane. I was watching him today. I don't think he can keep up with the pace in the league.
Who Varane?
Yeah, he looks suspect as. You know what? If that was White that did that performance, I'm telling you right now, he would have been magnified and vilified, and he would have got every name underneath the sun. I'm sorry, but
yeah.
Greenwood
I'm
saved
biased. But I'm biased.
Greenwood saved a lot of their players today.
Yeah.
A lot of them, because I feel so. In a sense, I feel sorry for Oli a bit because it's gonna come. It's gonna for his balance. We've always given him props here for balance, frontline balance, but you just gave someone 300k a week in Sancho and 500k a week in Ronaldo, so they probably have to start every week.
Yeah.
And now that's gonna force him to play Sancho on the right probably because he's gonna have to
guaranteed,
play
Chris. There's no way that you fit Rashford and Ronaldo when fit, and have Sancho on the left.
Yeah.
Like, there's no permutation that it works. It virtually this is my issue with it. And look, when we do our predictions, I'm going to go and back it up because what really I struggle to understand is that Tchouaméni, even for 35 million pounds and way less in wages, is probably an equal deal in the long term. By the way, with Ronaldo, probably more, but Tchouaméni would fix this team 10 times more than Ronaldo would, and it's going to be a huge mistake. I'm going to lap it up. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm gonna save myself. I'll go big on the predictions afterward, which we will revisit for everyone about the league finishes. We just want to wait till the transfer window is done. But I think Ronaldo is a big issue, guys. I don't know about you. We'll probably save it till that, but I really predict Ronaldo to be kind of the reason that things are going to unravel for them this season. To be honest with you.
I mean, let's just put it this way.
No.
So Ronaldo is going to be someone that I feel, because it depends on Ollie's transitional ball, because he hasn't got that. He's not the same athlete as he was 10 years ago, and he's reverted to a poacher in the box. You're going to need to. How are you going to play counter-attacking football with Ronaldo? It doesn't make. He's not going to be. What do you expect him to be? A transitional outlet? Do you think he's really got that pace?
No, I think with Ronaldo, they keep the movement of Cavani in the box, like the movement goals and stuff. But I think Cavani maybe like more willing to be mobile in transition and do the dirty work and press and stuff. And they lose a bit of that with Ronaldo. And yeah, Ronaldo will make them stupid numbers of money. But like a lot of people I've seen are saying that they're not there yet to be title challengers. But off the top of my head, don't they have like the three highest paid players in the league? In De Gea 375 a week, and Varane's like 420, and Ronaldo 480 a week. So they have the three highest paid players in the league and they're still not there to get to win the league. I feel sorry for Oli at the same time, but it is their own doing.
Yeah, I mean, let's just put it this way: Varane got the pace, so let's just see where we go from here with that defense,
Wait,
because Varane got the pace. He has not got the pace, my friend. That's what it is.
Winners
All
and
right, let's
losers.
cancel him. And
I think loser for today may have been like either Varane or Sancho. I think Sancho.
Because he Varane got the pace.
Oh my god!
So Sancho
look,
wasn't-
the
Sancho
big thing
wasn't-
with United too on the loser front is actually okay. I don't want to be too harsh, but I feel as though I think Ole has to take blame here. If you guys look at that game, by the way, there's a clear bank of 5. I think Willow, you've got a great picture.
Yeah,
That's
the
the one.
group.
That's what we're talking about. 5-0-5.
But this wasn't like
Find this picture.
one time. Like it
I
wasn't
got it.
like
It's in the-
there was
it's in the-
only
it's
a
in the-
couple
it's in the
times where it was
GCs,
like
okay.
that. There was a period where there was a very clear gap from the middle. And by the way, like United do this when they don't have McTominay. So I think he's underrated. He's probably underrated by a lot of people. But yeah, I think Ole in terms of his setup today just got it completely wrong. Winners, I'll probably give it to kind of the Wolves coach. I really feel as though that that Wolves coach is overperforming right now. I think he's doing a lot of really great stuff. I think he'll surprise people. I just don't think he'll have his full available 11 to really make use of his ideas personally, which is why I had them a lot lower. But fundamentally, you can't have Fred and Pogba in a pivot and being just spamming essentially long balls, which really was the
It looked like
reality
whenever
of that.
Pogba got on the ball, no offense, he's a great player, but whenever he got on the ball, it looked like he was taking a long free kick. Like even when I felt that system just it was the same in the Euro.
I mean, the other thing I want to say is Fred looked like a Fredo. I'm not gonna lie to you. He looked like he was a 10 pence player. He was not. He wasn't someone.
You say Fred is rising in price every year.
I was gonna say they're like 50p now, bro.
Oh God.
No, but
No, back in my day, it was 10p, bro.
Oh, you got the. I think my winner of the game would probably be Adma Traore. I thought he was a great outlet today. I thought he done well. He kept getting the ball up the pitch. I thought he bullied Wan-Bissaka at points. But I think my loser today is Paul Pogba. He lost the ball quite a lot in the middle of the pitch, and he just isn't comfortable there, is he?
He's not a pivot, man. Feel sorry for him. It's the skin color.
Jesus Christ. Z, winners and losers.
Varane. It has to be Varane, man. And I think.
Say it. You know you want to say it.
No, I don't know. Like, there is no.
He wants you to say Varane got the pace.
If Varane got the pace, bro.
Shut up. Okay, let's move on. Do you guys really want to talk about Palace? Because for me, we praised him in preseason. None of the preseason form and ideas has carried over in the league. This was my one.
Should have tried being on the board with Echt. I can't lie.
There was
It
a
was my
bit
one
of
fear.
counter-press.
It was my one fear with Vieira, by the way, that I didn't see the pressing that's needed. And look, maybe he wants Eddie. I know people don't want to hear it, but in theory, Eddie is perfect for what he wanted to do if he's going to carry the preseason
All
form,
three
right?
parties are perfect.
Yeah, so I hear it, but at the same time, it's almost like he abandoned principles from what was really successful in preseason to now getting a little bit shell-shocked by the pace of the league. And it's almost like he is second-guessing himself, and I don't like to see that because I actually saw that at Nice quite a bit, and I felt that was his downfall. Like he never stuck through a specific philosophy despite rocky moments. So, I don't know. Palace, I'm scared for. They were like my second team because I love Paddy and I love what they did for the culture, not because they're quite good necessarily. I think they'll actually falter. So.
Honestly, like for me, the Palace love wasn't because of Vieira. It's a bonus, but like I just like some of the players they've got there. Like to be honest, I think Eze coming in, I don't know when he comes back, even missing a lease, like he hasn't even played a game yet for them, and they signed him, and it was a lot of people like the signing, so they've got like a lot of missing pieces. To be honest, the Eddie deal, I really want it to happen because it's good for us, good for him, good for Palace because he gets the opportunity to prove himself and more stability. Palace get a goal scorer in the box who will help them press, and we get money and less strikers, to be honest. We have too many, I think, or too many that don't help us. But I think Palace, the counter press was there a bit. I like Conor Gallagher turned up for them
Yeah.
because West Ham have been very good so far this season in the first 3 games, and Conor Gallagher scored 2 goals and really took over. So yeah, at least they didn't lose. At least they didn't lose.
I think you got a give a massive shout out to Mikel Antonio as well. What was that? 3 goals, 4 assists in the league now this season. Absolutely insane what he's doing.
It's crazy.
31 years of age, and he's so dominant. He uses his body so well. He's so good with his strengths. He's just getting better each week. Honestly,
Yeah.
so good.
Apart from when he faces Gabriel. Apart from that,
Yeah.
that's when he's good.
I mean, Antonio. Yeah, go on, Z.
You were gonna say something, innit, Karen?
No, Zico. Mine's just a
I thought you
stupid
were
joke.
gonna say a joke.
No, I just want like a special segment on Buendia because like I know he scored his first goal.
He changed the game. He just started talking about a completely different game.
Yeah,
I want to talk about Buendia now. Go on.
No, I mean I just want his props, man. Like I just want to hear props because you know what
Man.
he's already like, done his.
He's needed to. He's needed to because he dropped a 5.2 on Sofa score on his first game. So
Let me give him
let's be
props.
real.
Let me give him props because I think that finish was beautiful. I think the defending from the centre back was poor. Him and the left back ran away from him, but it was a great finish. I didn't watch the game. I was watching other games at the time, but he's got a goal and assist now.
Yeah,
more than other players, but it's 3 games in. We'll see. But it was a great finish. I'll give him that. It was a great finish. That's all I'll give him for now.
I'm glad. But by the way, guys, I think if you guys need to watch back the game yesterday, there is something wrong with Emmy with fans. Genuinely, there is something wrong.
Emi Martinez.
Yeah, there is.
There
something.
always was.
Well,
Even yesterday, he was not kicking the ball the way he does. He was like, at one point, some of the players will get like shouting at him for even like kicking the ball out because I don't know what it is. Like,
well, with Emi, think about it. Okay, it may be too early to judge whether the fans really affect him, but he did play a couple times in the same season, and against Portsmouth and Leeds, he wasn't the same Emi who turned up against Brighton. So we'll see the dynamic fans bring on Emi because he played with fans for 10 years in his career and never broke through at Arsenal. He was great last season and probably the best keeper in the league, but you never know. What other games were this weekend?
I think we can wrap it up there. To be honest, I don't know. Is there anything else anyone else wants to talk about or?
Yeah. Lastly, look, we're gonna definitely be, I know, having some stuff going through the international break. Just to bring it back to Arsenal, here. Look, exciting game of fixtures, but the one thing that I just want fans to appreciate, because we're going to go through 2 weeks of really no games, and the one thing that you really want to do when you have such a bad performance is get another game, right? Just to get the mindset out. I really do think that a lot of the judgment and the fears that I have about our team going forward are going to be confirmed after the international break when I see a lot of the 11 inside. I think
Tottenham.
no, it's okay. That's purposeful, Chris. I'm sorry, guys. I can't be objective there. But the issue for me is, look, I just breed a little bit of patience. I know it's tough. We're going to have a lot of maybe information and stuff on the international break here. We'll do a lot more interactions with you guys. I just breed patience again because when I look at Man City, who absolutely had a better squad, I'm not using it as correlation, but it's very true that 8 games is absolutely normally the barometer for safety and not. And what I mean by that is you can have a very inconsistent run of roughly 8 games, but still be a lot higher up in the pitch. For example, I believe they were after match week 8 or even 10. Weren't they 14th last season?
I'll double check that for you, but I think so.
I definitely know it was match week 8, that they were in and around there. And the issue is, look, I'm not saying that it's comparable that we're then going to win the league. Please don't misinterpret this. But the idea that an inconsistent start it bodes for the rest of your season. I don't believe in. I've got a lot of reasons why I feel this way, and I'm confident to a return to form. But I just don't know if that conversation is ready to be had at this moment in time. So just everyone be okay. We'll look forward to kind of the transfer deadline day, and I hope to come back with a lot more positive stuff to talk about against Norwich.
Right, so a couple of things. First of all, this was covered. Ira, if you want to look at the space we did last night, we covered this quite in detail. So if you can check it out, please do. Second of all, we're going to be doing. I know we haven't posted a podcast in a couple of days, so we are going to be recording a podcast this week and posting it probably on Wednesday. I think both the audio and the visuals will be up on Wednesday, so that will be something to look forward to. The other thing I'm going to say is we are 3/4 of the way on watch time to being monetized. So now it's a case of subscriber count. So please, guys, share the videos, share the channel, tell your friends. Hell, we'll create 4 accounts. I don't give a shit. Just get your subscriber count up. Let's just let's try and get this to a place where we can say that we can push this into a different stratosphere. I think we can get to 550 before the podcast happens. I'm going to be pushing as much as I can because I'm back on Twitter until the end of this window. I'm sure the guys will be as well. But if you can, please like, comment, subscribe, and make sure that you tell your mates about it, because I don't want to brag, but I am telling you right now, you're not going to find a better group of people than the 4 people surrounding me to talk football with. So please do. We'll see you probably Wednesday for the podcast, and I hope everyone. Yeah, sorry.
Oh no, keep going. After you finish, let me say something.
No, that's what I was pretty much done. I was literally loading the outro. So you go.
On your point, George, after 8 games, United were 14th, but after 10 games, City were 12th. So there's been a couple of subscribers during the live, and thank you. We're on
535, I think.
538.
538.
Something along them lines, yeah. I just want to reiterate what Karen said. That please subscribe. Want to get to 550 subs, maybe by the deadline day. We'll have content for you guys. A lot of content next week, actually. Maybe 2-3 videos next week. So yeah. It's not about Klopp's Liverpool City. It's about the fact that after 8 games, your season can still be turned around, irrespective of the team. But yeah.
Z, Willow, anything final to say, or we gonna?
I think we wrapped up most things. I just want to reiterate, I think we've got some really exciting things coming up, and I think the content is just going to be getting better and better. So just hit the like, subscribe, and follow button.
See?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, look, deadline day is approaching. Like, I hope you guys are all going to join us. I think we should do a video during the deadline day.
Yeah.
We might have a meltdown, or we might have a good day. You never know, but
we might tear each other's eyes out. I can't lie to you. So just stay tuned.
But look, it's a ride that we should all take part in, and whatever happens, we're all Arsenal.
Yeah.
And we all love football, so it is what it is.
And kudos to Tammy Abraham.
Yeah, kudos to Tammy Abraham, and Lionel Messi has come on in his PSG debut. I will just say this, Pochettino, you have blood on your hands for not playing Neymar and Messi together in their debut. I don't think you should be. I don't know what you're thinking, but it's not okay, and you should be ashamed of yourself. So hang your head in shame. On that note, I think we'll leave it there. So yeah, follow everyone on Twitter. Everyone's in the link. The TikTok's in the link and the description. So thank you, everyone, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye now.